Point out sin. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11, the English Standard Version. Some years ago, an encounter was reported of a very bitter church member. The member argued for years that they experienced the wrong side of religious justice. The member's spouse morally violated the sanctity of their union, and the leadership of the religious entity knew, but did nothing that was satisfying for the aggrieved spouse. For the disappointed, the sin was detestable, but their faith was rocked less by their spouse's sin than by the quietness of the church's leadership, who knew and did nothing. It is true that hurt people often make false accusations. History records people desperately trying to profit from other Christians' sin. Yet, in the case outlined, the church leadership was silent in the face of proven truth. What the Apostle Paul is saying in the text for today, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11, is that believers are to avoid participating in sin altogether. While sin is a waste of time, according to the Apostle Paul, it also forces the hand of the church, which is called to say something if they see something. Believers should acknowledge misconduct by their family, friends, colleagues, and church leaders, because sin is associated with darkness, which is opposed to the light of those living for Christ. It is complicated to unmask or point out what is sinful, as it injures relationship in the most uncomfortable ways. However, believers must set boundaries between right and wrong, and when these boundaries are crossed, encourage others and themselves to live according to what is right. Some may accuse believers of being judgmental, but believers are required to use righteous, humble judgment, according to John chapter 7 verse 24. They are commanded as believers to point out sin for the benefit of others, noted in James chapter 5 verse 20. To expose sinful activities, believers should always make sure they uphold moral surveillance on their own lives, so that if called hypocrites, they know the truth. If you have encountered a church member or anyone in society in a sinful act, and you have been praying that God will bring their sin to light, listen to God's call to take no part in the sinful works of darkness, but instead expose them, according to Ephesians chapter 5 verse 11. One commentator advanced that when believers say something, they help to ensure that dark deeds done in secret can no longer wreak havoc on the lives of the innocent. Lord, it is not pleasant to expose sin, but it is required. May we fulfill that requirement even if it hurts. Amen. You have been listening to Morning Manna with Reverend Bonnie EBW Smith, Superintendent of the Moravian Church Antigua Conference and Minister of Christian Education. Have a thoughtful Thursday. God bless you.